Caroline, welcome to Speaker Spotlight.
Hello.
It's so great to have you here. And before we started recording, we talked about all your amazing work that you do. Would you mind telling us a bit about what Achieve Now does and your background?
Achieve Now is all about helping students achieve what they're capable of, their true potential, by giving them techniques, strategies, and technologies that help them perform well in a school environment that isn't set up for their learning style. So that's what it's about. And I work with parents, teachers, and students directly.
And what makes you so passionate about the work that you do? What instilled this into you to start this project?
Well, the whole point of doing it was I had 3 kids and they were really failing in school. So much so that I took them out of the schools that we're in and I put them in dyslexia, really good schools. And yet they still weren't thriving. And in the end, I left my career to sort of support them. Yeah, so I had 3 of them. So I didn't homeschool them. They went to school in the day. But at night, I would help them work out what their notes said and do their homework and help them learn to read or help them do the spell test or help them revise for GCSEs. And because I now realize I was very dyslexic myself, but did really well at school, I thought everyone else learned like me. And I realized that I learned differently. And therefore, I knew how to teach my children how to learn. So once they turned around and they're all doing really well academically now and they're starting their careers, and it's just such a blessing that I know that other families are struggling, and I wanted to pass on what worked so other kids didn't have to struggle needlessly. So that's what Achieve Now is all about. And I am so grateful I was able to help my children. I'm really excited about passing that on so other students can do the same.
It just sounds absolutely incredible and something, so many, I hate to say adults, neurodiverse people or who dyslexic who never had access to this. I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing, and that opportunity that would give. But you mentioned that it was only when you were an adult you realized you were dyslexic. Do you think that almost so many people now are, especially women, are recognizing they might be neurodiverse and it's not actually those stereotypical signs of dyslexia in education?
True. Now, I think there's an awful lot more of it out there than we think. And something that I should have said before, which Achieve Now is particularly about, it's using the software that schools already have. I think that a lot of people, when they hear about technology, they assume, oh, it'll be really expensive, it'd be out of my price range, or we couldn't afford that. But everybody owns technology that can already do what these kids need, and they don't realize it. And so the schools already own it. They don't have to buy anything. It's there, or it's already in homes, but people don't know how to use it. And the techniques I teach, they're all very easy. They don't cost money. And so it's not, children aren't getting the support, not because it's too expensive. It's just because people just don't know these skills and these technologies.
And it's that awareness that's there as well. And I think that's a big part of your role, is actually teaching even the teachers about how they can, it's that passing it down, how they can best support their students who are struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I just use what's already there. And what I teach one family or one school will be totally different, because I always start with, what do you already have? What do you already use? Because then it's free. So if somebody's got an iPad, I can show them how to utilize an iPad and what apps to put on it that will help them do well. But if they've got a Chromebook, I might suggest something totally different. Whereas if they've got a MacBook, I'll suggest something different again. But I would say most homes already have what they need. It's just they don't know how to utilize it. So I don't sell any software at all. I just give impartial advice. I do train, but a lot of my training is teaching how to touch type, because I think every student would benefit from being able to touch type, whether they're neurodiverse or not. But if you're neurodiverse, it is an amazing skill for reasons I could go on for hours. But to not learn to touch type, it is really, really sad. But then once you learn to touch type, that's not enough. It's not going to guarantee students good grades. They've now got to know how to use that skill to get good grades. So touch typing in itself isn't enough. It's then, well, how do you use it, and how to cut and paste and reorganize, and to look at questions and work out how to then answer them. And I think cut and paste is just such a gift for dyslexic students, because when I see a question on an exam or in homework, I don't look at it thinking, oh, I haven't got a clue. I would normally think, oh, I must remember to say this, and I must remember to say that, and I've got all these ideas, and it's more, I can't organize them, and I'm more likely to forget them. And maybe, I'll go on 2 more questions in an exam and then think, oh, I forgot to say, and then I go back. And when you cut and paste, you're able to reorganize your thoughts, because those of us who are neurodiverse, I've got a lot of ADHD as well as dyslexia, we don't tend to be linear thinkers. Our thoughts are all over the place. So that cut and paste and being able to reorganize thoughts is a really key skill.
Obviously, we know what touch type is, Caroline, but for somebody who's never heard of it, perhaps, what exactly is touch type in your own words?
Well, touch typing is where you type by touch rather than sight. And in all honesty, if you're good at spelling, just quick typing, looking at the keyboard, is absolutely fine. But most people don't know how to type quickly. And I think teaching touch typing is a forgotten art. I learned at school on a great big typewriter, and it's probably the most useful thing that I ever learned. But as somebody who's a bad speller, being able to touch type means you can have the book with all the correct spellings here, and you can copy those spellings without having to look at your fingers. Whereas if you are a really quick sight typist and you can type really quickly, once you have to check a spelling, you're trying to find your place on the book, and then you're trying to find it here, and it really slows you down. So if you're just typing what's in your mind and spelling doesn't matter if you sight type. But touch typing is fab when you can copy correct spellings, because if on an exam they've given you all the right, in the question they've spelt it correctly, and then you spell it wrong, maybe in 3 different ways, you're going to lose marks for spelling and grammar. And so touch typing means students can type quickly, and, because the quicker you type an exam, the more information you get in that finite period, because every last single exam that our students sit is a test of speed as well as knowledge. So you can have all the knowledge here, but if you cannot get it down in that 1 hour and 3/4 or that 1.5 hour paper, you don't get any marks for it. So the quicker you can get it down, the better. And if you haven't got to slow down to get the correct spelling, you get higher marks.
Also did the dyslexia show last year. Can you tell us a bit about the work that you do there?
Well, the talk that I do is stop dyslexics underperforming in exams, because I think you've got to start with the end in mind. So even if you are teaching 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, at the end of the day, we want them to be able to use their skills in higher education or in the world of work. And nowadays, when it comes to higher education and the world of work, you need to have minimum entry requirements. You need that GCSE, at least grade 4 in English. You need science. You need some GCSEs. So I feel like you've got to help put everything in place further down the school, so our students are going to be assessed by what their intellect, not their ability to read quickly and write quickly, because they're never going to be great at quick reading and quick writing, but they have skills in the subjects. Like my kids, even though they're really weak in literacy, are really skilled in different subjects. So it was more giving them the tools so the literacy didn't hold them back, and their gifts and their talents could actually come out when they're doing exams. So I always think start with the end in mind and work backwards. For example, if students are used to, when they're 5, 6 and 7, listen to audiobooks for pleasure. They don't just read them, they listen to them for pleasure. There's just so many advantages to having a love of reading, academic, emotional, life advantages. But if they're getting used to listening to David Walliams read something and then Stephen Fry reading Harry Potter, when it comes to doing chemistry revision and they have to listen to the chemistry revision booklet, they're going to have the synapses in place and the understanding of, I can actually get information through my ears, not just from reading. And they're used to retaining information audibly, not just from reading, which they're not as quick as. So I just think right down the school, keep using the skills that they're going to need at the end of the day when they do GCSEs, when they do A levels. And they're set up for success.
March was going to come around so quickly, but if anyone can get around to come to your talk, I think you'll learn so much and you'll benefit so much from it as well. So where can people find you, Caroline, on social media website? Can you?
Oh, I'm not big on, so I'm an old lady. I tend to, everything I do is on my web page, which is achievenow.org.uk, or I've got a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is just Achieve Now, and it's all about empowering dyslexics. And I do recommend that because the things that we've talked about, like touch typing and text to speech and lots of other things like immersive reading and how to help your child enjoy reading or how to teach a child to read. I've got videos on them all, and they're all short, so you can just go in and watch them. I hate them because hearing your own voice is horrid. But I know that they're a really helpful resource for educators and for parents.